Hello, my name's Richard Watts. In this presentation I'm talking about the newly launched North East Jeremie Fund. So Jeremie Fund, what's it all about? Well, it's designed to improve access to finance for micro businesses and SMEs in regions of the EU. The Jeremie Venture Capital Fund, known as the Joint European Resource for Micro to Medium Enterprise Initiative, is the first fund of its type in England. There are going to be others throughout the regions. One North East is the first to get theirs into the marketplace. It's a 125 million fund which is financed by the European Investment Bank, the Regional Development Fund and One North East, and it comprises 6 individual funds. The basic criteria of the funds is that businesses need to be SMEs. The project needs to be located in the North East and it needs to be a viable business proposition with ability to make returns to the fund. EC rules restrict aid to certain sectors. These include the steel industry, coal, synthetic fibres, primary agriculture, fisheries and shipbuilding. East region, it basically spreads from Northumberland in the north up to the Scottish border, in the south down to just south of Middlesbrough, across to Redcar and Cleveland in the east, the western parts of Teesdale and Tynedale. So the first of the individual funds is the Angel Match Fund. This fund is intended to be a small entrepreneurial fund. It will invest in companies in any sector other than the excluded sectors and predominantly at the early stage of development, but it may join with business angels in later stage developments. Generally, there must be private sector co-investors to partner in the investment. The fund's investments will generally be between 50,000 and 150,000, and the total size of this fund is 7.5 million. The Technology Proof of Concept Fund. This fund is intended to support the very early stages of business creation within the technology sector. The aim is to develop new businesses or to fund specific innovative projects which have the potential to create significant new commercial opportunities for existing businesses or universities. The fund's investments will generally be between 20,000 and 100,000, and the total fund size is 15 million. The Growth Fund. The fund is intended to invest in relatively mature companies at development and growth stages in any sector other than the excluded sectors. These companies will mostly be revenue generating and looking for growth capital. The average investment per SME is anticipated to be approximately 180,000. The fund's investments will generally be between 50,000 and 400,000, and there's a total fund size of 20 million. The Seed Fund. This fund will invest in companies and pre-start enterprises in any sector, again other than those operating in the excluded sectors. The businesses will be at the early stage of their development, i.e. predominantly at the start-up and seed capital stages. The fund's investments will generally be between 50,000 and 750,000, and this is another fund with a 20 million pot. Technology Fund. This fund will invest in technology companies at any stage of their development or maturity. It's extending from the proof of concept through to seed and development capital stages. The fund will make equity type investments, and the investments will generally be between 50,000 and 1.25 million. This fund has a total size of 25 million. And the Growth Fund 500. The fund is intended to invest in relatively mature companies at development of growth and growth stages in any sector other than the excluded sectors. It will in particular target companies which need a significant cash injection to facilitate a step change in their business. These companies will mostly be revenue generating and looking for growth capital. The fund is intended to address the higher end of the equity gap investing on average a total of approximately £570,000 per SME. The investments will generally range between £350,000 and £1.25 million, and this is a fund size of £20 million. So at Finance for Business, how can we help? We provide assistance to ensure that your application has its best chance of success. We'll assess your project for fund suitability, and providing it's suitable, which fund is most appropriate. We'll discuss the project with the funding providers prior to any application. We'll prepare the application forms and supplementary information, including the business plan and financial forecasts that the fund require. We'll submit applications to the fund and attend meetings with the funding body, read the project as and when required. We have regular discussions with the fund awarding bodies, so we know what they're looking for in an application. Contact details: if you'd like to discuss any potential project or you need any more information, please contact myself, Richard Watts, on 07872 033 804.